Hi guys, Brittany Lake here. So, welcome to Intuitive Weight Loss. If this is your first time catching me live, post a 1 in the comments below so I can personally welcome you to the group and tell you how to get started if you don't know already. I'm Brittany Lake. I've been an energy healer for over 5 years now, and I've just recently gone through my own intuitive weight loss journey where I have released over 70 pounds without diet and exercise, and I've decided to create this group to teach you guys how to do it too. And I also have lots of freebies, resources, and services to help assist your journey if you need it. But you have everything you need to get started. It's in the file section of this group. You want to download the Hunger and Fullness Scale and start memorizing that so you can start getting in tune with your body and start losing the weight naturally. Now you might need more help with that, and in that case, you'll want to ask me about my 10-week program and when the next enrollment for that is. I think it's February 19th. But tonight I have a very fun topic I want to talk about. It kind of goes off of what we spoke about last night, which was the law of vibration and how we need to get in vibrational harmony with our goal, which is to be thin, to be our body's ideal weight, our happy weight. And to do that, you have to be in that vibrational harmony, which means all of your thoughts need to be in harmony with the vibrational frequency of yourself at your body's ideal weight, which means you can't have thoughts like, I'll never be thin, I'll never lose weight, losing weight is impossible, because those kinds of thoughts are not in the same vibrational harmony with your goal weight. That's with the goal of, or the reality of staying overweight and maintaining that. That's the vibrational frequency you're tuning into when you think thoughts like that. When you think thoughts like, wow, I'm so grateful to be thin, to lose weight. I am so happy that my body is getting healthier and healthier every day. Those kinds of thoughts all align with your body's ideal weight, and that's what you want to tune into. So you can catch the replay for that from yesterday, which was the 15th. You can do that by looking in the video section of this group. But tonight I want to talk about how our thoughts and our beliefs are like rain clouds. So bear with me for a second. I also need to drink real fast. Okay, so I recently read this awesome ebook that was free. I don't know how it was free because it was amazing. It was by Leslie Householder, and she's a member of the same faith as me, and when she writes, it makes so much sense for me when she talks about universal laws. And so that's why I touched on some yesterday with the law of vibration. Tonight I'm going to talk about the law of transmutation, which is the law that everything that exists is either going into physical form or out of physical form, and I'll get a little more into that. And if I totally bomb explaining this tonight, I'll try again in another live video, but I'm still learning it myself. But I can see exactly why my weight loss was so successful when I look at other universal laws that make things into being and changing reality states, because I was following these laws without even knowing about them. It's like gravity. We are all affected by gravity, but none of us really think about it. We don't even have to know how it works exactly to be affected by it. But I was tuned into these universal laws without even knowing it. And that's why my weight loss was so successful. One, because I found the natural laws of natural weight management, which is waiting for true hunger and stopping at just polite fullness to tune into your body's innate weight management system and lose weight naturally. And then I was applying these other universal laws about manifesting your heart's desire and bringing that into your reality. And I didn't even realize I was doing this at the time. And so I keep gathering more and more information for you guys so you can be successful in your own weight loss journeys. So this is the law of transmutation. Let me read a quote from her so that way you can get a little bit of clarity on this. The law of transmutation states that everything, every object, every thought, every circumstance is constantly developing into form or dissipating out of form. When you discard an idea, it ceases to develop and begins to dissipate. And that, again, that's by Leslie Householder. So very cool there. If we tune into anything that's physical, like our bodies or a drop of water or bark from a tree, if we zoom in with a microscope, like super, super zoomed in, we're looking at the atoms of it, right? And then we're looking at cells, atoms, and then after all that, it's just energy. And you'll see that under this microscope, everything's moving. Everything is not solid, it's moving. And then our thoughts are actually super high vibrating. It's like super high energy that's vibrating really, really fast. That's what I'm trying to get at. And things like ice are more slower or vibrate a lot slower. So let me pull this together now. So our thoughts, like an idea, like I want to be thin, right? I want to reach my goal weight. I'm going to do it. And you're like me and you had over 70 pounds that you needed to lose. So our thoughts they are invisible, right? We don't see them. They don't pop up like little air quotes above our heads every time we think something. But there is a physical form to it. Everything exists spiritually before it is created physically. And if you've ever been pregnant, you might have noticed this. Sometimes a woman can know she's pregnant before she even takes a pregnancy test. She might dream about a baby or feel an energy. She knows that she's with child. So that's some examples there. But what I'm trying to get at is, so our thoughts, every thought has energy to it. And the more power or energy we supply behind that thought, it increases the matter around this thought or idea with energy. And that energy gets heavier and heavier. So take, for example, if your thoughts were like humidity or vapor, and you increase the energy of it, and it started to gather and get heavier and heavier with this dominating thought that you would have what? You would have a cloud. So it went from being an invisible state to something visible. It's not solid. You can't like hold it yet, but it's gathering and it's like this massive cloud. So whatever you're thinking about, whatever your dominant thoughts are around your weight loss, it's creating a cloud for good or bad, okay? And eventually, the more and more power that you give to this cloud of idea or thoughts, it's going to get heavier and heavier until what? Until it starts to rain. Okay, this is what me and my husband say, make it rain, right? Because that's what we do whenever we sell something from our house on Facebook, making it rain. Okay, so an idea or a thought goes into a cloud, and that cloud gets heavier and heavier based on the energy you put into it. And eventually that cloud cannot hold back. It turns into solid form, or fluid form, I guess, rain, and it begins to rain down water, something physical. So it went from something completely invisible, like our thoughts, into something more and more physical. And eventually that rain can turn into ice if the climate is right. So you see, that can go in and out of physical form. Even ice can go back to invisible form. And that's what our thoughts are constantly doing. They're putting things in or out of physical form all the time. So say we have an idea like, I am so gonna reach my weight loss goals this year, 2018, it's gonna be awesome. So that little thought is like vapor. It's just this little vapor mist, right? But say you give it more and more power and you say, yes, I can do this. I know I can do this. God is on my side. I have the tools I need. There's no way this won't work for me. And I'm just going to do my best every day. So that little vapor, right, starts to form and get heavier and it creates a cloud, okay? But what happens if, as you're starting to do this is a great time to talk about this because New Year's was just 2 weeks ago, right? And we don't want to slow down our New Year's resolutions for 2018. So say you've got this nice cloud forming, but then something kicks in and you decide, no, this is never going to work. I can't do this. It's going to end up just like every other failed attempt to lose weight, and I'm going to sabotage all of this, and it's not working, and it can't work because I'm on birth control. I've got this diagnosis or that, or I'm hypoglycemic, so obviously this isn't going to work. All these things begin to dissipate this cloud, and that idea, that goal, goes back into invisible form, and it will never rain or manifest into physical physical form into your life. Okay, so that was like, whew, that was a lot. So who's still here with me? Everybody, are we getting it? Did I explain that okay? Give me some likes or hearts if you get it. Give me a sad face if I'm still not making this clear. Anybody? Eliza, yes, I love her writings. I'm going to start reading The Jack Rabbit Factor. That title kind of threw me off, so I always put off reading it, but I'm excited to dive into that. Okay, great. Allie, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so now what happens if our thoughts are always dominated in something will never work out for me? What if you're not even at the point where you can possibly plant a seed of faith in your mind? What if you're still at the point where like weight loss is so impossible and you have this crippling fear that you're going to regain the weight? One second, I need a sip of water again. Well, that thought is also vapor that also turns into a cloud that also rains down water, which means you are continuously manifesting what you don't want because you have this dominating thought with tons and tons of energy behind it and probably years worth of experiences that have contributed to it. So that rain cloud of I'm always going to be overweight, nothing works for me, is probably so huge, it's raining all the time. So what we need to do is to make this rain go back into a cloud, back into vapor, back into invisible form, and start a new cloud. A cloud full of faith that you can do this. Now, how do you even begin to have faith at this point? Well, that's where I was a year ago when I started this journey. I had so much fear around this idea, I didn't even want to get started. I had so much learned helplessness that I knew anything I did, even if it worked, it was just going to result in a rebound. That's how I felt. And it was miserable. So I really wanted to make this work. And that's why I turned to God to ask him, what the heck should I do about this problem? I knew that he had helped me through so many weaknesses in the past, and I knew that this was something he could help me with. I just hadn't seen his help yet. And I realized I hadn't really been going about this the right way. I kept turning to the world for this answer. I looked through diets and science and supplements and nutrition for all the answers, and all of them contradicted each other. Isn't that interesting? But God's ways are always higher. So when I asked him a year ago which diet I should go on, I had two options. He told me that none of them. I should not start any of them. And I was really discouraged by this. But a week or two later, I found a quote that said, if you want a certain blessing from the Lord, you have to understand the laws that govern that blessing and then live obediently to those laws. So that quote changed my prayer, and this should change your approach to how you think about this too. Even if you don't believe in God, you know that there are universal laws that govern this life. So think on that as well. There are laws that govern this. So I prayed and I asked for that. This was something I hadn't tried before. I prayed and I said, what are the laws that govern this blessing of being naturally thin and being able to eat like my naturally thin friends without feeling so deprived and losing so much of my quality of life like all the other diets? Like, how do I have that blessing that they so abundantly have in their life that I've never experienced? And another week went by, and that's when I was introduced to many books and resources that taught about the natural laws inside our body, the natural boundaries of understanding where hunger is and polite fullness is. God designed within our bodies a natural weight management system to help us stay at our body's natural weight that it was designed for our body. So a year ago, when I couldn't even cross my legs, that was not a natural weight for my body. You know, I spent years accepting that body, and I'm so grateful that I did because there was so much healing that came with that. But that wasn't my natural state. That wasn't my fullest potential. And I knew that, and God knew that. And because I was finally praying the right way instead of just, please, God, help me lose weight, which never works. Don't ever say a prayer like that because it won't work. What you have to do is understand the laws that govern natural weight management, which is what I teach in this group and in my 10-week program. And you need to apply them. And you need to not cast out your unbelief by throwing in all of these negative beliefs around your ability to do this. If God says you can do this, then you need to let go and surrender all of that fear and all of those negative thoughts and replace them with positive thoughts that can form into vapor, into a cloud, into rain until you are manifesting the body of your dreams. And that's how it works. When you stay in vibrational harmony with this goal, when you are applying the law of transmutation that I'm talking about in this video, and you understand the laws in your body, and you honor those natural physiological cues that God already has instilled and programmed in your body, then you will get there. It'll take some time, but at the beginning, it might be really hard with your thoughts. It takes a lot of muscle memory to do this. What is it I'm thinking of? I can't think of the word. But it's like working out a muscle. You have to get better and better at it every day. And that's where you can start praying. That's where you pray for help or meditate, and you really focus on replacing all of the lies in your head with truth. And you only allow yourself to think those thoughts that serve your goal. Any thoughts that aren't aligned with your goal are not allowed in your head anymore. You have to cut that out. You have to toss that out, because every time you do that, that beautiful cloud of you visualizing yourself at your ideal weight dissipates completely. And it goes back into invisible form. And it will never get there to where it rains and it stays and it manifests into your physical life. So you have to practice this, and you have to get on board with this. Allie says, I got to find that quote and have it as a reminder, not just for this, but for all things. So good. Yes, if you Google it, it's by Russell M. Nelson. I can also post it in the group later as well. So, guys, that's what you need to do tonight. I love that you were posting in the group today about what thoughts you want to, how you would feel if you had already reached your ideal weight, which is great. It's a physical feeling and emotional. So step into that. What would it be like to be able to cross your legs easily underneath the table? What would it be like to buckle up a seatbelt and tighten it in an airplane ride? Visualize yourself doing that, how good that feels. Visualize yourself running and running fast and not feeling everything bounce and jiggle, okay? That was something totally new to me. That was really cool. One time I was chasing my baby down the hallway and it felt like I was flying. Like I had no idea that I could move so freely and so fast. It was like, I was like Wonder Woman, you guys. It was crazy. So that's what I want you to picture every night as you're thinking about this and visualizing yourself at your ideal weight, is to picture these things. What would that be like if my spouse or boyfriend just picked me up and spun me around, you know, because I was light as a feather, or, you know, lighter, right? What would that feel like to have that kind of movement in your life, in your relationships? And how would you feel emotionally about yourself? And what new things would you focus on now that you don't have to worry about this problem? Step into those emotions every night and embody those feelings every day. Because what that is going to do is make that vapor turn into a cloud, which will turn into rain, and you will be manifesting these results so much faster. If you want more proof on this, another great book to read is The Gabriel Method by John Gabriel. He talks a lot about visualizing yourself and manifesting weight loss results. I think with the purchase of his book, he even has a great hypnosis on visualizing your ideal body, which is really good. The reason why his book is not a part of the recommended reading list yet, I might put it on there in the future, is because it focuses a lot on supplements, nutrition, and things like that too. And I feel like that's great for when you get closer to your ideal weight. But there's so much stuff we have to work through with making peace with food and understanding your body's internal cues first. So I highly recommend it still if you want to get started on it anyway. And his story is amazing. He was 400 pounds, you guys. He was a big guy. And he lost all of his weight within like a year. visualizing himself being thin and just doing little things like riding his bike to work and things like that. And he has since become a real guru for clean eating and things like that. But he contributes his weight loss to visualizing himself at his ideal weight. So he was 400 pounds and he did that within a year, and he has no loose skin on his body. And he says his body is exactly as he pictured it in his mind. So remember, everything exists spiritually before it is created spiritually. And if you do not cast out this thought with unbelief, by focusing on these dominating thoughts of fear and failure, then you will be able to manifest your goal. So understand this law of the law of transmutation and get to work memorizing and understanding the physiological cues of hunger and fullness. Download that hunger and fullness scale. And if you need more help, I'm always here to coach you one-on-one in my 10-week program. Let me know if you need more information on that. You guys are great. I'll see you tomorrow night at 7, and I'll let you know what the topic is when I figure that out. You guys have a great night. Bye.